Oh, this is fascinating.
This is fascinating.
Fascinating. I don't know if we want to talk about the pregnenolone steal.
I think really the interesting thing to note is that it's the bit with the pregnenolone steal, and again, we pretty much put this in every single presentation, is the connection with how the body will turn progesterone into cortisol, or choose to produce cortisol instead of progesterone when we're under stress. And then that actually will, that creates this hormonal imbalance. And so it's almost like the stress is kryptonite to our progesterone, because we'll produce the cortisol. And that's the really important thing, because what we don't want is actually more cortisol, because although it sounded like, oh, that's great, we've got cortisol, so we can, can like stop a flare up. No, it's almost the same with the blood sugar roller coaster. We're kind of ending up in this ricocheting in the immune system that we absolutely want to stop. We want this really nice, calm, sorted out immune system, not this loads of cortisol, no cortisol, loads of cortisol, no cortisol. We need to find this balance.
And I think what's interesting from an inflammation perspective, we're looking on the left-hand side here, the progesterone and the cortisol is the anti-inflammatory, and then we're looking at testosterone, estrogen, DHEA, which is more inflammatory. And so this is when we are looking at, say, an estrogen excess, that's more inflammatory. This is coming into the role of why are more women affected? Actually, testosterone is not inflammatory, it's anti-inflammatory. It's the estrogen that is inflammatory. And when a woman has a lot of estrogen in the body, then there's extra inflammation, and it's progesterone that we need. So brings us on to the next. This is a fascinating piece of research. There is a connection between low progesterone and autoimmunity, and it is to do with progesterone suppresses the inflammatory Th17 cells and increase anti-inflammatory cells. And it's been fascinating to look at the research that women in pregnancy, for example, and if you've got a female client with autoimmune conditions, is to ask how her pregnancy was if she's had one, because often the autoimmunity will go into remission through the pregnancy because of the high levels of progesterone. And so what we see is this storm that can happen in women when there is high stress. The body is choosing to produce cortisol in these high stress situations and not produce progesterone, and it's progesterone that we need to be able to have that anti-inflammatory effect. Women with lupus appear to have lower progesterone levels compared to controls. So there's some really interesting studies that are coming out, starting to make these connections between autoimmune conditions and low progesterone.